Sully is totally out of control. He is now in an internet argument, which is just the worst place to be of all. Sully, go ahead. Tell people what you've done.
Yeah, so I tweeted Chris Spielman, and I said, I'll read it again for people that are just tuning in. I said, hey, Chris Spielman, serious question. When along the line did this turn into a rebuild for the Lions? When Quinn hired Patricia, he said the Lions are better than 9-7. You even said this past preseason that you thought the Lions are a 10-win team, but now all of a sudden us fans should expect a rebuild. Chris just tweeted me back a few minutes ago.
Is it breaking news?
No, it's not breaking news. Chris tweeted me back, and here's what he said. Quote, should have said remake roster. So he's saying that Chris is saying that, I should have said, I shouldn't have said rebuild. I should have said remake roster.
Potato?
Right.
What?
But, of course, other people are tweeting him right now, too. And someone said, didn't you say before the season 10-6 playoff team? Like I just said. He said this, I made an assumption that Stafford and Johnson would have stayed healthy. I also believed the defense was going to build on a strong finish. That's how I came to 10-6. I was wrong on both points, but still think it can turn around in year 3. My opinion is different than yours, but I'll disagree with you on your accusation that I'm lying. Because
No one's saying he's lying.
No, someone tweeted him and said, get off your ass, Spielman, and call this team out for what they are. You're lying through your teeth, and you know it. And then, to Chris's credit, he did tweet someone back.
I don't have patience to jack with you today.
Just now and said, I already answered. I should have said remaking, not rebuilding. So now he's going on this.
Okay, but here's what I would argue. And if people want to chime in on this, go ahead. We're just rapping about it like we're having a drink. 248-539-9797. Here's what I'd argue. Every franchise in the National Football League is constantly remaking their roster. It's a league of constant turnover and constant change. The New England Patriots of today will have a 30% turnover by next season. Every team is reshaping themselves every week of every month of every year. Acting as if now that you're going through this hard pivot. This is ultimately the issue. When you are defending a team, you are in an endless position where you can move the goalposts. You always are. Because ultimately, we don't get to make those moves, and you can sell hope as a strategy. Hope is not a strategy. That is not how that works. That's the issue at hand. When you defend a team, you can always, at the end, when you're running down the pier, and you're running out of real estate, and if you keep running, you're going to end up going right off the pier. You can turn on you can hit that emergency brake and stop right before you drive off the pier, turn around and go, but it can turn around next year. You can sell hope as the ultimate strategy. This is where arguing with people who defend teams, it's a losing proposition. Because right now, that's all Chris is selling. He's pinned up against the wall by the super fans, and he's going, hey, guys, I still believe it could turn around, okay? Merry Christmas.
Well, that's why I just tweeted him back again.
No. Stop.
Stop. This is nothing personal. I like Chris Spielman actually on TV. I think he does a good job. And you and I have disagreed on that, Mike. I think when Chris does non-Lions games, I think he does a really, really nice job on TV. I'm serious. But he just tweeted me back. Perfect. I said,
God, what is it, dude? Does he have a hobby? What is he doing?
Well, this is good, and I want people to pick up the phone and start dialing because
pick up the phone.
This whole rebuild thing is something interesting.
Stratmon Oakmon or whatever it is, Stratford Oakmon.
And hey, maybe fans agree with Chris about the rebuild thing, but I said the following. I said, but Chris, still. Bob Quinn literally said Patricia was brought here because Caldwell's 9-7 wasn't good enough. Year 1 with Patricia, they went 6-10. Now this year, 3 or 4 wins. Why should anyone have confidence with how this whole thing has gone? And he just tweeted me back and said,
oh my God, make it end.
He just tweeted me back and said, Shanahan Lynch, year 6-10, year 2, 4-12, year 3, 11-2.
Okay.
So,
all right. Yeah, I'm not going to get it. No, you know what? He's using the same example as his only thing. Is he aware they were the worst team in football when they took over? What was San Francisco the year before the Lynch Shanahan duo got in. It was a trash fire. It was the Jim Tomsula, Chip Kelly trash fire. That's not a fair example on his part. That's not fair. They had a guy who farted at press conferences and another guy who was panned in the NFL. It was the worst job in the league. No? Then
Right.
Then
yes.
why is he using this as his crucible of truth?
Because I don't get this, Mike. But it's like what Wojo did say last night. Wojo said that he thinks 60% of Lions fans are accepting and willing to, hey, year 3, let's give them one more year. Oh, I don't think people really are like that.
No, I don't either. That's why we're not doing that topic. I heard Wojo and Bogey, no disrespect to them. They tried hard. They bombed last night. They couldn't get a phone call. They ran the board. It's not their fault. It's that 60% of people don't want these guys back.
You know, it's funny because Michael David Smith, the Pro Football Talk, has now jumped in on this thread. And he said, Michael David Smith just said, not to mention the moves, and I agree with this, not to mention the moves they made this offseason are not consistent with a long-term rebuild. Signing guys like Flowers and Daniels to big contracts, those should be, quote, put the finishing touches on a contending roster type moves, not start a rebuild type
and using the number 8 pick in the draft on a luxury pick that a Super Bowl team would make in drafting TJ Hawkinson. I'm sorry. It's an indefensible opinion. It's indefensible. And using the Frisco example has got to stop. That's a false narrative that Chris is selling. It's false. Mike, Harbaugh leaves. Team goes into free fall. Jim Tomsula. Chip Kelly. Disaster. Right? Right?
Right.
It's not the same. And they didn't have a franchise QB like you did. It's not the same. Stop saying it.
Oh, man.
Go to Jeff on a cell. Look what you've done. Jeff, how are you?
Oh, well, I'll tell you, listening to the Spielman talk, I had a thought, and now if you just bear with me to throw Spielman in at the end. But the thought was just watching the Giants and Philly last night, I was thinking about what you were going through. Both of us have to watch our teams and hope they lose against hated rivals.
Mm-hmm.
Root actively against hated rivals like, for you, the Eagles, and Redskins, and for me, the Vikings and Packers, whom I both hate. And then we also, draft day is our Super Bowl. And by the way, I hope that you don't get ahead of us in the draft and take Young, which I figure you would love that. But
I would.
Maybe we'll have that call if it happens. But no, it's just our days are, our Super Bowl is draft day.
Yep.
That's one of the things we're relegated. We're relegating to rooting against our team. We're sitting there. I'm peed off because they won't do anything at the trade deadline to help themselves. So I'm watching all the things. What is the Lions fan relegated to? Rooting against their team, hoping for a better draft pick, hoping for a trade day.
Well, and I think
something.
this is one of those special years where you're hoping for change. You're hoping that Matt Patricia and or Bob Quinn are given their walking papers.
Oh yeah. I forgot to add that too, is that we're having to root against them. And again, I just don't see, I look back and I say, if everything had went right, if everything they say will fix, I still don't see us being good, even if that happens. And with Spielman, it is a constant with him. It's us players. It's never the coaches. And he played for Wayne Fonts, who they liked, and I'll just take you back a little bit. And he was the one that was talked to every week in the press conferences, and it was always, no, the coaches put us in the right spots, we don't execute. I'd like to see him maybe coach a little bit and see if maybe that would get a little fire under his butt, because bottom line is, again, he's always been that way. So you're not seeing anything different since his playing days when he was kind of the team spokesman. So thank you. You have a good day.
Yeah, Jeff, appreciate it. Sully, you need to behave yourself now. You're out of control. That's enough. That is enough.
It's just confusing to me, the whole rebuild stuff. It really is.
Listen.
And I respect Chris's opinion. I do.
Relax.
This whole thing has just gotten a little crazy.
Mike, that's why you don't do an interview with him, because he's being obtuse. There's no point to this. This is why we're not going to do an interview. There's no point. He can fall back on selling hope And then if I go after him for that, I'm a bleep hole. That's a lose for me. I'm setting myself up for a loss. He's not interested in admitting that this is not what he's purporting it to be. So that's why there's no interview, because you're never going to get anywhere. He's dug in on his side. I don't know why. Maybe he's been given information they've been guaranteed to come back. I don't know that. But you're presenting this mountain of evidence, and then he's able to just go, well, I disagree because I think it can change next year. How do you argue that? He's selling hope as a strategy.